So hey from the UK. It's really great to meet many of you, or a couple of you, when I was across for the road trip. So and I'm really looking forward to meeting the rest as part of this ongoing process. This is like the fourth time I've recorded this video, so excuse me if I'm a little less enthusiastic than I was the first time. Yeah. So I've been asked to speak a little bit about my own practice and my own kind of methods and the ways I approach creating work, really, and hopefully that will be useful for you to hear, really, and I'm sure we'll have a much more kind of hands-on experience of that at some point as well. So really the aim of my work is to create spaces where participants can explore different facets of their personalities, really, through interaction and through by suspending the rules of society within spaces and presenting a different set of rules that are much more kind of which are quite severely altered, much more honed towards a particular kind of form of interaction. So really the idea is to create this malformed reality, and through this create a liminal space where the process of transformation can potentially occur, and we can, as both practitioner and participant, explore and then gain the opportunity to reflect upon those explorations. And quite often, this kind of ritual structure is created by through part of that ritual process involves the sacrifice of some element of myself within that ritual structure. I'm developing this idea that this sacrifice isn't necessarily kind of physical death, although sometimes my work does involve a degree of kind of painful elements, but I'm more interested really in the idea that of kind of focused exploration of blocks and that stop one experiencing or that inhibit people to and make the experience of life less full as it might be, really, and framed within the concept of the sensuous society. I think these blocks will be blocks that prevent us from experiencing the sensuous in the most full way, and I don't think those two ideas are really very different from one another particularly. So often my work involves some kind of act of like the lowering of personal status or kind of ritualistic humiliation as a way of really kind of targeting notions about myself, and in this way kind of through the incorporation of the participant, exploring and kind of sending out the message that this process is a valid and considered way of reaching a kind of higher state of being, I think. So as an example of what I've been working on recently, I am currently kind of engaged with my own self-perceptions of my own body as something that I'm not particularly, I don't see as this kind of aesthetically beautiful thing. and so a lot of my work at the moment involves nudity to as a way of kind of really engaging with that and raising those questions in myself, as to kind of what what are my perceptions of my own body. And in the same way, a lot of my work previous to this has involved kind of intimate discussion of feelings and sensations and painful memories, really, as a way of you know, as a way of kind of opening up in that respect to strangers, and so hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of this ongoing process that I'm undertaking. And I kind of started to refer to myself very recently and exploring the term traumaturg to really consider what that means in terms of somebody who facilitates these small deaths of personality as a way of becoming kind of more a bigger whole and higher, you know, raising oneself up to a kind of higher level psychology, really, and experience of the world. And the idea really is to make this process explicit. So I'm really interested now in the workshop as a frame for these kind of explorations, because it can involve explicit discussion. It can also involve, you know, very long durational performance elements as well. And really, the idea is to create a sort of process of personal reflection, the creation of scenarios that engage with these perceived blocks, and also the notion of these personal sacrifices as part of this process to create this this ongoing kind of cyclical process of critical reflection and experimentation. So in terms of the sensuous society, firstly I think it's really important for me to say how strong the resonance of this idea is within myself. It really reflects and kind of encapsulates much of what I genuinely believe to be important within our existence. And when I first started talking to Gree about it, there was a real sense that we were both, you know, that she was talking to me about things that I already knew. Sorry, some kind of weird stranger hanging around my garden. So yeah. So yeah, this sort of real sense that what Guru was saying was really spoke to me and really kind of encapsulated much of the experience that I've kind of had in making this work. So I came starting to think of this as like an anthropological exploration of another place where these archetypes inhabit, and what I kind of see is that this that we are allowing our bodies as kind of explorers of this space to these archetypes to inhabit our bodies and create a kind of performer archetype complex. And so I do see like that there'll be quite a significant variation between these archetypes in terms of when they inhabit different individuals, and I think that's a really kind of interesting and important element. I also see that considering the idea that this is a genuine process, kind of process of exploration, so that we will come back from this this place and this experience of these archetypes with information and glimpses of the sensuous society. So I think it's really, really, really important to you know, to give oneself over as much as possible. And I think this, you know, this understanding might not just